So now we're going to talk a little bit about reading charts. I'm not here to teach you technical analysis. We're going to give you some tools and some things to think about whenever you are LPing and kind of how to make some good decisions on what it is you're doing. So let's go right on into this. Useful technical analysis indicators. Use the ones that suit you. Some of these we think are great or easy to understand. The MACD indicator, it's got these trend signals here. Let's just zoom in on that here. The MACD line, that's the blue one. Whenever it crosses the orange line, that's an indication of what's the trend doing. So if the blue line goes under the orange line, then it's trending down. Whenever it crosses back up, then it's pumping, it's going back up. You'll see down here below all of these lines, the dark green is a solid, it's really pumping. Whenever it starts to turn light green, that pump is kind of slowing down a little bit. And conversely, a dark red is a deep dump or sell. And as it's starting to slow down on the selling, it lightens up a little bit. So this is just kind of giving you an indicator of which way it's going in that. And then the RSI indicator, this is a very simple one, really. But when we look at it, you've got the 30 line, the 50 line, and the 70 line. This is the price action that it's happening. Generally speaking, whenever the price goes above the 70 line, that's usually an indicator that the token has been oversold and it may be time for a reversal for it to go back down. If it dips below 30, it may be oversold, and that could be an indicator that it's going to go back up soon. So it's not always true in every instance, but it's a way to kind of gauge a potential, if you will, if that makes sense. Some more technical analysis indicators that we find very useful. This one is actually the type of candles that I may say this wrong, Heiken Ashi candles. Instead of the traditional candles that you may be used to, like on the bottom with all the little wicks on, or actually on the top, all these extra little wicks of that over time, this will trim them off and kind of show you, it's really to try and show you the trend. You can see here with all these little red cells and whatnot and these extra wicks, this trims it off and looks at it. You can see this is a trend up, and same with the down. Especially if there's no wicks, that's really giving you an indicator this is selling off. You see in this top one here, we've got a little bit of buy, but the trend is still down. So it can be a helpful way to kind of gauge what it's doing. And then we have the volume profile visible range, or the VPVR. So what we have here is, on the right-hand side, you've got these yellow and blue bars. Yellows are sell volume and blue is buy volume. And the bigger the bar, the more volume. And so you may want to use this as, and how do I choose my range, my price range on this chart? Well, you want to go for the volume, right? So you may define, there's nice juicy volume here. I want to set myself up here. And maybe if it drops, maybe you want to set up in this other big section down here. There's not quite so much volume in this section here, so that may not be the best place to LP. So that's really how that works. And we'll show this to you in practice. And actually, we'll go ahead and do that now before we move to the next thing. Okay, so let's load up this token called Useless. This is a well-established token. It's been around. A lot of people use it for multi-day. And I am using GMGN. This is my favorite charting tool and one of the reasons why I like GMGN over some of the others. I used to use DEX tools. Whenever you go to a DEX tools chart, it's going to show you the chart for that specific liquidity pool. GMGN, on the other hand, is an aggregate of the market, all of them together. So you can see what's going on throughout the market, not just the very specific pool that you are in. So we can see right here on the VPR, you can see all the volume is happening right here. And this is where that's where all the action is right now. So this may be where you want to define your range. We'll see the RSI. And if you look at it, you can see here, it was going up and then there was a big sell-off and then it bounced. It dropped below the 30 line and then it came back up. And you can see whenever these peaks, it hits this top, goes above the 70, it comes back down. And then we see over here at the bottom, this last one, you can see where it crossed the lines and it trended what it's doing. Also, whenever you're looking at this, you can kind of tell by looking at the chart, but you could see the bigger these green and red things are, the bigger the pump or the bigger the dump. Okay, so now selecting a range. How would I do that? Well, one of my favorite tools to use is the price range measurer. I'm coming straight here and I'll go that, select that. And let's see, I like this volume right here. So I'm going to click and I will go down to about right here. And this will tell me from the top of my range to the bottom of my range is only 4.25%. So that may be how you want to start, paying this one. If you were doing two-sided, you would want to have that on both sides. Now, that being said, on a lot of tokens, I will have a tendency to go much lower, and that's to help protect myself if the token decides to dump. I'm going to look at a different chart to kind of give you a better example of that. Okay. So this one, we can see there's a nice juicy pump going on for this. And I've got my little tool right here. There's not a whole lot of volume up here, but there was a lot of volume down there. And to select it, I'm going to go down. You can see about 70%. So that might be where you want to set your full range. Especially if you go one-sided here at whatever this top is, go all the way down to 70% and it'll cover all of that range. So that's how I would choose that one. A few other things about GMGN, you can choose the price in SOL or USD. You can also have it show you market cap instead. There's a lot of people that like to look at just what is the market cap. And even here on GMGN, it's going to tell you this particular one is 13 million market cap. To me, that's a well-established token. It's doing fine. You've got some degen audit stuff like mint, blacklist, that kind of thing. And up here, you'll see at the top, the amount that the top 10 holders hold of this particular token is 15%. So not too worried. How much the dev holds, how many holders there are. If there aren't very many holders for a token and it's got kind of a higher market cap, that could be a warning sign. Insiders, phishing, and bundlers, bundlers, that's not good. It's the token may be distributed to a bunch of the wallets all owned by the same person, and high bundles could be an indicator of a potential rug. So you want to watch out for that. And then one of my other favorite things that I love to look at is the price change over the last 1 minute, 5 minute, 1 hour, and 24 hours. You'll also see how much volume has happened over that period of time. And then here you will see the buys and sells and then the net amount off of that. So in the last 5 minutes, the buys and sells, there's been 15K more sells than there have been buys. In the last 1 hour, there's been 15K more buys. And 24 hours, you could see 109K, 110K worth more buys than sells. And this is just constantly changing from minute to minute, what have you. So you can choose, I love looking at the 1 minute chart, especially on fresh tokens, or even the 30-second chart or the 15-second chart. See what's happening. What's the trend? This one, it looks like it's going in a bit of a sell-off right now, but we'll see here, it's dropped below the 30 line. And we may start to see some buys happening on this token right here. So I wouldn't be ready to panic on this one. It looks like it's going to come back up. So I just like watching that, especially here on the net buy. If it's within 1 or 2K, then I don't get too concerned. Whenever you start to see that number really shoot up, then that's kind of giving you an indicator of what's the trend. I could spend all day on GMGN. I'm just going to cover a couple more tools. They do have bubble maps built in. It's not labeled. It's just this icon. Let's look at the holder bubble for this, and it's loading. So this is showing you all the different wallets and any of them that are connected. I can click here and see how much are in these individual clusters. 3%, 2%, 2%. This is not bad. I'm not really concerned about these. This could be just people moving money from one wallet to another. If it was a high percentage or a lot of them grouped together, that may be a warning sign for you. And they did hide, like this one is the Radium Vault. Let's look at that one. So that one, that does look dangerous, right? So I wouldn't worry about that one so much. You kind of have to know what you're looking at and pay attention on that. And then come down here to the trades. You can actually see what's going on. You can see who or what is being added to liquidity pools. But let's just look at the trades. You can see them happening in real time, the buys and sells and the individual wallets. And there's all kinds of little icons that'll tell you, is this a bundler? This is the first time they bought it. If it's a bot, where it was purchased. Like this was done on Axiom, this one was done on GMGN, so on and so forth. You can see any KOLs, what are they doing? You see an indicator, maybe this person, they sold all, the little sweeping broom, they sold all of their stuff. Sometimes I look at KOLs to see what are they doing. Like here's Ansem, he just sold $27,000 worth of this token, and that's probably this right here, that sell-off right there. Or no, actually that was a day ago, so never mind. We can look, what did the dev do? Smart wallets, if there are any whales. This is also something that I like to look at. What are the whales doing? But also the amounts, if they have big buys or big sells, or if this is just little things. These can also be MEV bots. Sometimes you'll see that, like this one right here, they bought a bunch and then immediately sold a little bit of it. Fresh wallets, snipers, the top 74 holders, what they're doing, insiders, bot degens, and bundlers. And this has got over 1,000 bundlers. So this is kind of like, you see what the different types of wallets are doing, and you can kind of get an idea. It takes time to understand what you're looking at over that, but yeah. So how would I select the range of this particular token? Well, I see here's the volume going. I see that maybe it's on a little bit of a downtrend right now. It may reverse because it's getting really close to this 30 line. But also looking back, I see a bit of a pump. There is some action going on. It's not insane right now. Just looking at the volume, and the volume, you have to compare it to the market cap, right? We've got 44, 48,000 in the last 5 minutes on 11 million. So this is not exactly what I would call a crazy runner, but this is getting a bit of volume. So if I want to select my range, I'm coming right here to the actual price and going down, and I can see a little bit here. Let me change to the 1 minute chart. Give me a broader look at this. So delete that. And I'm going to select this again. I see it's going down. I'm going to come down to here, and that's 25%. So maybe that's where I want to set my range. Just covered myself. Personally, I'll usually go even lower than that. If it's a fresh meme coin, something very new, what a lot of people do is they'll go all the way down 70 or even 90% on a pure bid ask, just to make sure that they're not going out of range and catch any pumps that go back up. We'll show you some other ones. Here's a nasty token that I looked at the other day, Saros. This rug check is absolutely terrible. And this, here's the chart for it. And you can see right here, this is a clear, let's let it reload here. Clear indicators of wash trading back here. You see this volume right here, that is not organic. That right there, that is a bot. And you can see right here, they shut off that bot and the token dumped right there. They rugged this thing hard. This token is 598 days old. So wash trading can happen even on old tokens. Here's another kind of indicator that you'll see right here within this chart. This quick bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. That's wash trading. Now, if you look at a USDC, USDT chart, you'll see the exact same thing. That's not wash trading. That's just the token. Those two are worth about $1, so they stay within that range. That's how it is. But this is some other token that is heavily wash traded, and I would stay far away from that one. As you can see, they ramped it up and then it rugged. So watch out for that thing. Don't go into those.